We are about to get started. Yay! Welcome, everyone. Welcome. Come on in. I'm giving people a few minutes. I'm super excited to do these lives because I think it's really important that we amass power. That's what this whole season of the Trill MBA Show podcast is going to be about. I recognize that there is a bit of a delay, um, and so I'm going to give this a few minutes. But I also recognize the importance of us driving our careers. When I was a little more junior in my career, um, I would hear people say things like, "You are the captain of your soul and destiny," or whatever that saying is. But in reference to career, like, you are the captain of your career, and you cannot expect organizations or companies or whoever you work for, your employer, to drive your career for you. And so that sounded okay. But then there was never the, well, what do I do to drive my career? Like, what are the things I'm supposed to be doing in order to do that? And nobody ever really like sits you down. It's kind of like you have to go on this little scavenger hunt for knowledge, if you even recognize that you need the knowledge, if you even recognize that there are things to be known, you know, because the way we're taught in society is, similar to going to school K through 12 and then in university. It's this teaching you how to wake up in the morning, go to a destination, be there all day, complete task, and then you leave and you get to go live some life after that, right? And so we've been indoctrinated to be workers in this way for decades now. And so nobody explains, like, oh, well, if you have something that you actually want to do or actually want to accomplish in your career, school is a written path, university even is a written path. But after that, it's like, oh, well, now you get to decide. And so, in my journey of trying to figure all that out, I definitely didn't want to ever gatekeep. So, the more information I find out, the more that I come here and I try to share. So, if you're here and you're with me live, please let me know. Tell me who you are, give me your name and where you're from. Shout out anything that you've gotten from this podcast or that you've learned, whatever you want to tell me today. I really want these to be interactive. And in fact, if you want to come out of the audience, if you're on a laptop or desktop and you want to come out of the audience and talk with me live, you can do so. Riverside has this cool function. You can actually join and talk to me live, and ask your questions about this series that we're talking about. So, uh, I just want to make sure that we are very, very clear on why we're here today. Um, the 7 rules of power. This is, to me, a game changer. And it says surprising but true advice on how to get things done and advance your career. So, about 8 years ago, um, I was found myself in another workplace dilemma situation, layoff. And I was like, what is happening? Because I know that I do great work. I know that I'm, you know, really trying to make it happen. Hey, Shamice, for joining. And I realized that I was missing things. Like I knew something was missing. I just didn't know what that was. It's kind of like I have a question, but I don't even know what that question should be or how to ask it. But I know there's a question there. That's where I was in my career some years ago. And so I've gone on this journey to try to figure these things out. The first book that helped, that I felt like, oh, I can implement these tactically, these things, was How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. So it's an old book. It's millions and billions of copies. You hear people talk about it all the time. But here's the deal. That book is a game changer when it comes to how to show up in a way that's impactful. And when I say show up, I mean communicate. How to communicate at work, in your environment, and actually in life. How to influence people to get things done. Because at the end of the day, you need to be able or have the ability to influence other people to do things in order to move the needle and drive the business of the company or organization that you're working for, right? Okay. So I knew that part. I just was like, okay, there's some things I'm missing. And it's very easy for us, especially people of color, people who are like non-white, male, straight, cisgender, like people who are not the country's default of privilege, right? It is very easy for us to say, oh, well, this isn't working out for me because I'm XYZ, right? And I don't want to deny our lived experiences. You're not crazy. There are very many instances where your lived experience is real and that the boxes that you check, these constructs, have real consequences, right? That's not fake. That's not a lie. There are real consequences for me being a Black woman in a bigger body. There are real consequences and I've experienced them. Nobody can take that away from me. I'm not even going to deny it, right? However, what I understand to be true is regardless of the boxes that you check, because we have something very beautiful called human behavior. And human behavior is very predictable. One of the best things I've learned in my marketing career is to study human behavior and to figure out what are the ways to communicate, to position products, and how to decide who those people are that would be affected by that position. So who to target, right? How do we segment this population of human beings so that we can make positioning of our product and target them and position it in a way that moves them to action? So that same science, that same social science can be applied in going through and managing your career. And once I had that aha moment, I was like, oh, and then came How to Win Friends and Influence People. It was kind of a trifecta moment in my life and my career. And so I started this podcast. But then this couple months, this work on power, it was like it was the missing puzzle piece because I still was missing some things. And what I've realized is that without power, so you can be liked and you may have some level of influence, but without the power to get people to do things and to move the needle for yourself, then you are exposed. And the beautiful thing about power is that power is not good or bad, right? The beautiful thing about power is that you can use power for good. The problem is the examples of using power and abusing power that we see in our zeitgeist, in our society, has always seemed very evil, very bad. And so now you might be thinking, I don't want to be like that. Well, guess what? You don't have to be like that. But in order to protect yourself from these layoffs, from all the crazy that's happening in different workplaces, you need to start to work to amass a level of power that will help you drive your own personal career agenda. Felicia, that sounds effed up. I know it does, but it's true. Either you're going to understand that a game is being played or you're going to get played. And I want you to recognize and come up out of yourself and get out of your feelings. That's why we talked about get out of your own way, right? And start to recognize that you need to take command of your career. And what that actually means is that you need to amass power in order to have command over your career. Okay? So, with that said, if you've been following along, there is a worksheet. It is the Power Action Guide. Every one of these episodes, I create a worksheet to go along just to get you to think about some things, right? This episode that came out this past Sunday was about rule number 3, appear powerful. The truth is, you need to command presence and project power wherever you go. And the other truth is human behavior. So this is why understanding human behavior is very helpful. No matter what you look like, who you are, how you show up in the world, you need to show up in a powerful fashion. People are going to make snap judgments about you when they see you. And I know you may be looking at me and being like, okay, girl, but you sitting up here with these braids that are long overdue. I got an appointment next week, y'all. And you just got a t-shirt on. Your face ain't beat. You ain't got lashes, blah, blah, blah. Here's the deal. There are times, everything time and place. It is Saturday. I hope you are still in your pajamas. I hope you are drinking some coffee or you had a great breakfast or you're having a light lunch or whatever you're doing, watching this. I hope that you're in a comfortable place because this is supposed to be a safe space for us. Yes, a public safe space, but this is a place where you can come and get real information. And so because of that, you ain't got to dress up. You ain't got to be all that. When we step out, when it's time, then that's when we do that. But understand, when it's time for you to use your power and your influence, it's time for you to step up and step out. I need you to bring it. And I need you to really have the confidence to use your body language, your tone of voice, your professional presence to show up and show out. Unafraid, unabashedly. So one of the reflection exercises on page 1, I want you to think about the last time you saw someone and immediately thought, that person looks like a leader. And I want you to think about what are some of the things that gave you that impression. And if you are here in the chat, please shout yourself out. Shamiso, thank you for joining. Let me know what your thoughts are. I'm also looking on here. I know sometimes there's a bit of a delay. I'm looking on LinkedIn. If you have any comments on LinkedIn. For me, this is gonna be a little shady. Don't judge me, y'all. This is how my brain works. So when I see Black women leaders, and this is changing, but this is when I was more junior, they would always have a weave, a wig, or their hair, it would be straight. But they would definitely have like this swoop bang. And it seemed like a trend or a thing. And it would be very glamour shot, but not like not glamour Hollywood makeup, but very much like the face is professionally beat, right? But it looks very, very polished, very put together, right? And this would be the image that I would see. And then it seems like currently there seems to be this trend. And if I'm wrong, y'all tell me I'm wrong. Like I don't mind y'all telling me I'm wrong. But there seems to be a trend where these a lot of these women leaders, they are very thin. Like very thin. Like they like it don't look healthy thin. And I'm not trying I'm the last person to talk about somebody's body. But what concerns me is that there may be this unspoken need in order to amass power or gain power that you look a certain way or be a certain way. And so I these are just again, we're talking about reflections, right? These are just some of the things that I've been thinking about as I'm thinking about how to execute against the seven rules of power here for myself in my career. And since everybody's on this Wegovy and Ozempic and all these things, and listen, I as somebody who has had weight loss surgery, who's been cut open in order to lose weight, I am not judging anything anybody does that makes their lives or they have the perception that it makes their lives better, and it makes their lives better for them because your perception is your reality. And I want everybody to do everything and anything they can to be as healthy as possible, live the best life that they want to live, how they want to live it on their own terms. That's the goal here. That's the point. I bring this up in this moment when we're talking about appearing powerful. We tend to look outside of ourselves for examples of what's working and what's not, right? Like, we not only analyze our own internal data points, but then we're also looking at, well, if there's something that I want or something I want to accomplish. So let's say I want to be the CEO. Well, let me go look at what other CEOs are doing now. How are they showing up? How do they talk? How do they show up in the media? Are they in the media? Do they have a brand presence? What does that brand presence look like? Those are all questions. Like, anytime you're trying to evaluate where you are versus where you're trying to go, and you're looking for some examples, not to compare yourself, but just to see like what's working, what's not. Like, no need to reinvent the wheel, right? Okay, great. So, what that means is you look at and you start to evaluate, okay, and translate it. And so what I'm seeing is there seems to be a bit of a trend where there's a lot of women leaders who are very thin. And I get that there's this idea that thinness in this country is like the holy grail and all those things. And trust me, I have been subjected to this my whole life. I get it. However, I also see other examples of other sized body people showing up in their power, doing amazing things, looking fantastic, and just being great with where they are and what they have right now. And so what I don't want you to do is look outside of yourself and make a comparison and say, "Oh, well, I'm not this or I'm not that, so I can't get to this next level." No. You look and see what's working today. You look and see what molds you can break. You look and see how can I do a similar thing but with my own sauce. That's all. That's why you look. But the work that you need to do in order to get your career where you want it to be is mostly an inside job. And it's also getting outside of your head. It's a balance of what changes do I need to make versus what things look like they work, and then how can I incorporate some of those learnings to work for me? How do I build a plan for myself without reinventing the wheel and without, having to learn from my own mistakes? Let me learn from other people's mistakes, right? That's part of the goal. So, as we walk through and talk through these 7 rules of power, the overarching theme that I want you to take away is that you have power. I know sometimes it doesn't feel like it. I know sometimes we feel subjected to the powers that be outside of us and the influences outside of us. But I want us to get out of our own heads, and I want us to think through how can we invest in ourselves? How can we make changes that allow us to show up more powerfully? How can we be more confident even when deep down we don't feel that confident? How can we walk in every room and not have any fear in our minds and our hearts? A lot of times you are afraid to say the thing that needs to be said because you haven't strategically thought through how that thing will be received, how you will be received. You haven't done the calculations. And so you are walking around in a very reactive state, trying to hold it together. My goal is that this season, with everything we're going to talk through and learn, that you understand to be strategic and plan ahead. So that way, when you do show up at work, you are confident, you are present, you don't let anything phase you. You don't get flustered. You don't get frustrated. You stay focused. You keep everybody else around you focused. And you're able to bring a happy, positive energy to your environment that also adds another layer of protection for you. And so, in all of this, I hope that you are picking up what I'm putting down. And I hope that you work through these worksheets and make a game plan for yourself as you're going to work every day. So, with all that said, I want to take some time. I believe there are 6 people streaming this live. There's 2 people on LinkedIn. So, listen, and one of them might be me. I'm not sure. But if you are here, tell me you're in the chat. Shamiso, thanks for letting us know you're here. Tell me in the chat where you're watching from, and let me know if you have any questions about this worksheet. If people do have questions about the action guide for this episode, please let me know. I'm here to be a resource. I'm here to help. I can tell you some things that I am working on in my positioning myself for power. One of the things I'm working through when it comes to showing up, I realize when I get nervous, I don't give great eye contact. Hey, Kim. Hey, Kim. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thanks for coming. I don't give good eye contact. I get very nervous. If I get nervous, I tend to look down. That doesn't put me in a perception of power, right? That body language, I really have to watch that. One of the things that I really want to do this season, and I'm looking for a great guest to come on here and talk about how to consciously manage your body language. Because I don't know about y'all, but my face, me and my face don't be on the same page. I'll be thinking like, keep it together, keep it cute, cutesy, demure, mindful in the meeting, right? Like, don't do too much. And then my face will be like, bitch. And I'll be like, wait, no, that's not. Take it back, take it back. My face didn't mean it. um, I have literally had people call me out. I think one of the best things about virtual and having to be virtual, and I don't wish the pandemic on nobody, but being virtual allows me to see my face and that allows me to fix my face. And I didn't realize until the pandemic, because I had always worked every day in the office in person. I can't see myself. The only way I knew my face was doing something was if somebody told me, pulled me to the side and said, girl, your face. Or I could sense the reaction of the other person. But then I was like, also didn't know how to fix my face, right? And so, uh, thank you, Teams. Even though when you hear that little Teams, it's triggering. But thank you, Teams, for showing me my face, right? Um, okay, I am going to mess up your name, and I'm so sorry. Abosidi, Aboside. I'm so sorry. We gonna learn how to say people's names correctly in this world. I don't care how many consonants and vowels your name has in this world. Everybody deserves the humanity to have their whole name said correctly. We can all do it. Period. That's how I feel about names. So if I mispronounce your name because I don't know, I apologize. But thank you for joining from Dallas, Texas. Whoop, whoop, Texas. I'm a Texas girl, y'all. So I'm always going to be a Texas girl. No matter how crazy Texas is, I'm always going to be a Texas girl. So, with that said, what questions do you guys have for me? I'm here to answer questions about career. I can sit here and talk forever and ever, but I really want to come and ask questions. Oh, I got it right. Oh, thank you, thank you. Um, so come ask questions. Shamiso, how's career life going for you these days? Um, so I'm gonna tell your business a little bit. Uh, I know that you are a people manager, and um, what what advice would you want your direct reports to have about managing their careers? If you, Kim, or oh, you said I got it right, and now I'm in my head. Abo City. I hope I said that right again. Tell me um what questions you may have if you manage people, if you have a boss that manages people and they're managing you. Let's talk about it. Let me know, guys, in the chat. Or if you want to come live, I haven't used this feature. So if somebody wants to click this link to join the studio, and then I should get a notification, hopefully, that you want to join. I'm looking at my screen over here, looking at the comments. Yes, questions. I know there's a delay, so I'm gonna wait a second. Let's talk about it. Yes, I can say more about anticipating people's reactions um, in meetings. Okay. Yes. Thanks, Kim, for that question. So, when you, here's, okay, here's what I tell my coaching clients, right? There are some things that you're going to know if you pay attention. First problem that we have as human beings is we are concerned with us. And so, um, let's see, how do I explain this? So the problem is because we are rightfully so. It's a very human thing. So it's not necessarily a bad thing to be concerned with yourself, to be worried about your well-being, to put yourself first. Like these are all good things and all things everyone should do. The problem is when we become myopically concerned with just us, we miss things. We stop paying attention to what's going on. And I call this what's going on our chessboard at work. So you have these pawns, these players on the board, and they're moving around and they're doing things, but you're over here to yourself in your own little square, and you're not paying attention to how they're moving, what they're doing, what's going on. And at the same time, you want to move. You want to move up. You want to win, but you're not paying attention to what else is being moved around the chessboard. So you got to get out of your own way and pay attention to what's happening. And so that's step number one to anticipating people's reaction. There are about 16 different personality types. So if you think Myers Briggs, right, that's a representation of the personality types. And each of us is a combination, according to the situation, of said personalities. If you start to pay attention and you start to study the human beings around you, you can start discerning how people are going to react to any given stimuli that or any situation that they're in. The problem is most of us are not paying attention to that because we are trying to manage ourselves against the stimuli that we deal with in the workplace. So the workplace frustrations, the workplace microaggressions and macroaggressions, like all these things, like we are literally a lot of times in survival mode. And what I'm asking you to do, a part of surviving, is to pay attention to your surroundings. But not just pay attention. You want to start to think through, okay, so when Susie told our boss this, she reacted this way. Now there's two variables. There's Susie and there's the information, right? So you could give your boss the same information, and according to the relationship you have with your boss will react in a different way if she doesn't or he doesn't have the same relationship with you that he has with Susie, right? But it takes you paying attention to that to understand that that dynamic is happening. So then once you understand that, it doesn't matter whether your boss likes Susie and doesn't like you. Now you understand the human behavior and you know what's going to happen. And now you can start to strategize. Well, if there's information I need my boss to act on, and my boss does anything Susie says, if I become cool with Susie, me and Susie cool. She already knows she the favorite. I'm not even her competition. She think the boss hates me too. Great. Now, anything I need to get done, if I make friends with Susie, I just feed Susie the information, let her take the credit as long as I'm getting done what I need to get done to put on my resume so that I can get out of here if I'm in a bad situation. But see, we so busy being hung up on my boss don't like me. That's why. And then my boss don't like me because I'm XYZ. But my boss don't like me because da 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 da. But you ain't even looked at the chessboard to see, well, how can I play this? That's what I want you to start recognizing. That's the change that I need us to make as we're in these workplaces. Because guess what, honey, just like my grandma used to tell me, everybody ain't gonna like you. They didn't like Jesus Christ, okay? Then he was the savior and the Messiah. So what make you think that everybody gonna like you? It's okay. You also said, I'm going to put this on the screen. I have heard the advice that it's good to have meetings before the meeting to gauge the reactions of the more senior people before blindsiding them. Yes. Okay. Never go into a big meeting and not know as best you can what the information you are going to deliver, how that information is going to be received. So you want to, yes, run around the building, gaining alignment to what you're going to present. You want all the key stakeholders. So here's the shortcut to this, right? And let's put the scenario out there. So you have to present in a meeting, and it's to some leaders in your organization. Okay. 3 of those leaders are the most influential. The rest of the leaders don't matter. They ain't got the juice. This is why you have to look at your chessboard, because you need to identify who are the big 3. Who's your Kendrick, who's your J. Cole, and who's your Drake. Sorry, that's how my brain works, guys. Go to Kendrick first. Go to your Kendrick first and say, hey, this is what I'm going to be presenting. I just want to run it by you because I want some advice and counsel, and game plan with your Kendrick. Because see, you got to understand, your Kendrick has the most influence even over your J. Cole and your Drake, right? And even though your Drake is petty, you already know that about your Drake. So you're going to keep that in mind, and your Kendrick has that in mind too. Now, I'm going to make some assumptions in this scenario. I'm assuming that, one, you have the relationship with all of these people because you're presenting to them. So you have somewhat of a relationship with them and you can meet with them, right? Number 2, when you have your Drake and you know that person's petty, this is why you have to definitely align your Kendrick leader. The main one, the one that's the silent killer, the one that I ain't a killer, but don't push me. Align that person to whatever you're trying to get done. Make sure it's what you're trying to get done also is a win-win for their agenda, because then they'll have a lot of skin in the game. You don't want it to be like a peripheral, like, okay, yeah, I don't care that you do that. No, you want it to be like, oh yeah, I need you to do that because I'm trying to do this. And that needs to be done to do this. Right? Then you ask Kendrick, who else in the room do you want me to go talk to? And then you go talk to them. And now you start, and hopefully the J. Cole is one of those people that Kendrick tells you to go talk to. And so circle with all the people Kendrick tell you go talk to. Hopefully it's just 1 or 2. Get their feedback. Don't change anything. Don't change stuff, right? Like, don't go remaking a whole bunch of slides. Get your slides to a good place if it's a PowerPoint heavy culture. And then only change what Kendrick told you to change. Everybody else is just appendix, talking points, different things. Even if they give you blah, 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 you let them know like, hey, Kendrick aligned to that slide already. And they'll be like, okay, so here's some other things I want you to think about. And mind you, when you have these conversations with all these people, they're going to run back, tell that they're going to be having their little side conversations too. So just pay attention. And then at the end of all this emotional and mental labor, you get to presentation day. You've met with Kendrick. You've met with J. Cole. You may not have met with Drake. That's okay. You got 2 out of 3 and all of their little minions or their little pawns on their chessboard. Most of the people, so at this point, you got the 2 bigger power players, and then the majority of the yay sayers, pawns, they're going to go along with them. You should be fine. And so, do you have to do this in meetings? Yes. Yes. J. Cole is the second in command to the Kendrick. Yes. And leaders talk about everybody because they ain't got nothing better to do. Shamiso's question is, how do you deal with people who think your power is threatening to them? Do you have to tone it down? Well, based on these 7 rules of power, no, that's the last thing you want to do. And in fact, if they feel threatened, if you can fire them, fire them. Oh, I know that sounded like, but Felicia, we're supposed to be the good guys. We're not supposed to be evil. Here's the deal. We're not in a world right now. We don't have enough power right now to make everything right for everybody. So you got to look out for number 1 so that your good agenda, you can put yourself in position to enact it. The perfect example of this, the perfect example of power plays, power moves, is that orange person in office. And I will not say Beelzebub's name, but y'all know who I'm talking about. And as a part of the 92%, I see him now. And the funny thing was, Professor Pfeffer wanted to write a book about his power moves and how he does this. He is the perfect specimen to be studied. And everything he's doing, and then know it feels horrible because his agenda doesn't help the people. But the mechanics of what he's doing is to be studied. And then you can use similar mechanics to do the right thing eventually. Right now, you might have to do some things you don't like. Like, if people are in your way, let them go. If they think your power is threatening to them, find a way to push them out. Because here's the deal. If they're making power plays, they're trying to get rid of you. And so, no, you don't turn your power down. You turn your power up. You show up more powerfully. You do the thing that shakes them. Don't ask for permission. Ask for forgiveness later on. But like, break all the rules. Any rules you thought you had to follow, except for rules that keep you out of jail. So follow rules that keep you out of jail. But if it's not a rule that's going to land you in jail, break it. Unapologetically. It's work. As long as you following the letter of the law. Because a lot of these rules in work is arbitrary. There's just, and I don't want to say they're all arbitrary. Some HR people are probably cringing right now. Let me reframe that. There are some rules that were meant to be for the greater good. There are some rules, though, that just don't make sense. And if it don't make dollars, it don't make sense. And so you have to be comfortable breaking rules. The problem comes, the reason why you're so uncomfortable with breaking rules is because for 12 years of our lives, from kindergarten, I guess it's really 13, from kindergarten to 12th grade in this country, we were told every day for 9 months out the year that we had to be good and that we had to follow these rules and we had to make good grades and we had to do what we were told and we had to respect authority and that we had to follow along for the greater good of everybody and we had to get along and we had to play nice on the playground. Work is your new playground and it is not nothing nice. And I want you to hear me and I want you to hear me well. I need you to take the parts of your humanity that make it hard for you to do the things that that you need to do, that you were taught that you're supposed to do, and I need you to break that thing inside of you. Because in order for you to be able to make the money to take care of your family, to take care of the people you love, to take care of your community, you cannot, we cannot continue to allow people to put our livelihoods at risk. So if anybody sees you as threatening, you can show them better than you can tell them. Because damn for sure you smarter than all of them. So hear me when I say, do what you have to do to flex your power. That's how you gain more power. Show up and show out per your usual all the time, on 100. And ask questions. Question them. Because they don't have the answers. You do. You the boss. You got this. Yes. Yes. So, one thing Kim said, I love that question. If they're your boss, get more cozy with those above them. Absolutely. So, one of the things, and I think I touched on this a little bit last week, and I ain't going to talk too much longer. I'm going to get out of here. I'm hungry. But I touched on this last week. You have to build a relationship wall. The relationship wall allows you some protection once you've built it, but you've got to build it. You need to cozy up and be and have a relationship with all of your boss's peers and all of your boss's peers, and your boss's boss, and even your boss's boss's boss. Your third up, right? And here's one tip, trick, tactic that works. Anytime you talk about your boss, especially if you hate your boss, hold on, let me get closer. If you hate that mofo, I want you to smile, and I want you to say all the nice things your spirit can muster to say about your boss to other people. I want you to talk about your boss as if you love your boss. I want you to talk about your boss as if they are the best boss to you in the whole wide world. I want you to go around telling everybody how great your boss is. And I want you to point out things that they do right. And the things that they do wrong, I want you to say, and hey, they're learning from, like, that one thing I love about my boss, they make mistakes. Like, like my boss knows that she has a micromanaging tendency, but here's something I saw she was trying to work on it with me. I want you to positively edify your boss to every single person you talk to. I'm going to tell you why. Let me tell you what happens. So now you think about it. All the peers and the higher ups, they're in the calibration room talking about you and your peers. And if you manage people, your team and people below them, they're calibrating talent, right? So they go into this room. Now you've talked so kindly about your boss to everybody. Everybody thinks that you love your boss. Now deep down, you hate your boss. That's okay. Now your boss tries to talk bad about you in the calibration. Got him. Because let me tell you what that does from a human behavior perspective. If all I've ever heard is you talk so highly of this person, and then you have all these great relationships with all these people in the room, right? And then here come your boss being a wet blanket about you. They're damaging their own credibility. Because that's not what I've seen. What are you talking about? What do you mean she's not performing? What was that? Oh, okay, well, is and then that person will be trying to reconcile what they know about you personally with what this person is saying. And now I don't trust this person because I'm going to trust me more than I trust somebody else. My own interactions with you will come before any secondhand knowledge in my mind. That's how our cognition works. This is human behavior. So it doesn't matter what color you are, what size you are, what you look like. If I can get to the core humanness, I got them. And now your bitch ass boss, they look stupid, which is what you want. Because once I start questioning your judgment on one thing, then I'm going to start questioning your judgment on another thing. And now you have a whole room of people side-eyeing and looking and questioning. Now, mind you, your boss is going to get mad, okay? Let's play this out. They're going to get mad. If they're smart, though, they will stop doing the behavior they've been doing to make your life miserable because they're going to try to do something different. And then trying to figure that out, they're going to do the opposite of what they've been doing. So whatever behavior you haven't liked that your boss is doing to you, if you set this up and it takes some time, but you keep working at it, then they'll have to change because they're not going to go against their boss because then you cut your nose off to spite your face. And if they're smart, they will not double down on trying to get rid of you. But if they're dumb, they will double down. They will fight harder. And it will make it worse. The person who's complaining loses. Remember that. The person who complains loses. You go to HR, you lose. If you're the first to go to HR, you lost. If you feel the need to go to HR, find you an attorney. Strategize and game plan. Do not go to HR. And I know my HR professionals are, if they see this, they're like, you can't tell them not to come to us. Yes, y'all work for the devil. Like, no. Stop complaining. Don't complain. Rule number 1, don't complain. Don't go to HR with complaints. If you do go to HR, here's the times you go to HR. And this is in a powerful fashion, you go to HR and say, hey, I need some information and I know you have it. So pay attention to my language there. If I go to somebody and say, I have some information and I know you have it, I have now set an expectation. If you go back to how we've been socialized in this country, we are socialized K through 12 to rise to the expectation of people. So now I've said, hey, I need help with a question and I know you have the answer. Now this person feels the need to prove that they have the answer because I've set the expectation that they have the answer. And then they may say something like, I don't know about all that. They're trying to hedge it because they don't know what your question is. So then you say, hey, where can I find the policy, the handbook policy, like the employee handbook? Of course they know the answer to that question. Oh, now you've made them into the hero. This is great. Da-da-da. But now they're wondering, why are you asking for the handbook? And then you tell them, I feel that it's important to make sure that I'm grounded in making sure I'm following the rules. And so that's why I'm asking for the handbook or whatever else reason you want to make up. The real reason why you want the handbook so you can give it to your attorney. Don't ever tell them that. But anytime you need questions about policy, what is the policy? Where is the policy? Where are things? That's when you go to them. Also, go to them with some praise reports. Go to them and tell them how great you think your manager is. Because guess who else is in that calibration room? Your HR business partner. So go tell them how great your manager is. Because then they really gonna be side eyeing your manager. And if your manager really is an asshole, that person knows that your manager's an asshole too. Because that your manager has treated them like, oh, make sure my if this person has open recs or whatever, make sure my recs are on the job boards. What are we doing with hiring? Like they haven't, if they're not kind to you, they probably haven't been kind to other people. So pay attention. You just have to pay attention to all these things. And you can start to figure out how to move your chessboard this way. This is the type of strategy I want us all to be working on. And I know our strategy before was, well, I'll just outwork them. I'll come in early. I'll stay late. I'll work hard, work hard, work hard. No, child, that ain't it. That ain't, you can do all that and you do all that and then you get fired or you get laid off or you get demoted or you get mistreated. You're so busy working, you're not gaining power. So that's the shift that I want you to make. I want you to spend less time actually at task and more time strategizing and getting clear on what you want. And so because of that clarity that I want you to get before we get out of here, I want to share something with you guys. I put together an offering. I hope that you guys will let people know about it. It is new, and I'm trying to find the link. I was supposed to have the link ready, and I don't. So I'm learning, guys. I'm learning. Um, it's on a sell-fi store that I have lost the plot, y'all. I have lost the plot. Hang with me. Hold on. I'm gonna get the link to my store. Okay. What I have is a career fast track session system to help you get paid and promoted. It has a workbook. It helps you make this plan. It helps you put together this strategy. When you purchase this, I will also send you a link to set up time with me. So when you're done with it, you can walk through the plan. I am trying to paste the link and it's not letting me do that. So let me go over here. Technology, y'all. I swear. There we go. So I've pasted it in the comments. Of it on LinkedIn, and I'm gonna go over here and paste it in the comments. Thank you. Yes, gotta have an HR strategy. So I've also pasted it in the comments on the live on YouTube. You ever have like brain farts? I know I'm not the only one. Okay, awesome. So you can go there, go through that course, go through the worksheet. When you're done, you'll get an email to set up time with me to kind of walk through your worksheet and make sure it's, you have a good plan of action and you have a good strategy for managing your workplace. This is what I do. This is my little superpower. I've gotten really good at helping other people do this. And I really like doing it. It's fun because you're putting all the puzzle pieces together. And we create, working with my clients, I create, how to build that wall around you, how to break down that barrier to somebody who doesn't want to build a relationship with you, but you need to build a relationship with them. So we work through that. One of my biggest success stories is getting one of my clients promoted while she was on maternity leave at a big big company that is very hard to get promoted in, that has a crazy promotion process. But she definitely went from struggling with people leaders and all the things to showing up differently, game planning, showing up differently, then game planning how to get those 6 people that had to recommend her promotion and getting them all aligned and lined up and building those relationships to actually having her manager lead the calibration, and while she was on maternity leave, her getting promoted. So it's doable, guys. Everything is doable. There's always a way, right? You can always make it out. Let me know. We've got the free guides you can get at trillmba.com/freebies. Every episode for this series, I'm making a worksheet to go along with it with reflection questions and things to think through to plan your power move. If you're needing to game plan your career, game act, like take a break, take the 50-foot view to figure out and come down that funnel of, okay, now how do I execute against this? Definitely check out the system that I put the link in the chat. So with that said, it's 1:00, guys. Thank you so much, Kim. I appreciate you, Shamiso. Thank you for coming. Also, who else shouted themselves out? Aboside, thank you. I hope I still said that right. Thank you guys for coming. If you have any questions, you can always hit me up at ask@trillmba.com. I check the email myself. I don't have a team at this point. We're still working on growing and what that looks like. But I am here to help. And I'm on this journey too. I'm still in the job market. I do this. It is a passion of mine, but I am a marketing executive and I work in Fortune 500 companies, or have in the past. And I'm in the market looking for my next full-time opportunity as well. So I'm in the trenches with you guys. So yeah, but until next time, next week I won't be live. I will actually be in Texas at my cousin's wedding. But the next week we'll come back. It'll be the first Saturday in April, and we'll talk about episodes 4 and 5 during that live. It's so cool because we're going to talk about creating your power brand. And I'm going to talk about my journey on trying to rebrand and brand myself and what that looks like. And it's been a lot. And then we're going to talk about networking relentlessly, which is something you need to do in order to amass power. Power is gained through relationships. It's just not about the position you have, but it's the relationship. And you'll see that if you've ever seen an ineffective leader, it's because they don't have the relationships. So they made it to the position without the relationships. They're not going to be there long, sadly. But we're all trying to learn and grow, guys. We're all humans trying to make it. So with that said, thank you guys for joining me. I will see y'all in 2 weeks. Bye.